Welcome to the Democracy's College podcast series. This podcast focuses on educational equity, justice, and excellence for all students in P20 educational pathways. This podcast is a product of the Office of Community College Research and Leadership, or OCCRL, at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Learn more about OCCRL at occrl.illinois.edu.
Welcome to Where to Start, How Community Colleges Can Scale Up Their Registered Apprenticeship Programs. This is Dr. Anjale Welton, Associate Professor and Assistant Director for the Office for Community College Research and Leadership at the University of Illinois, and
Devean Owens, PhD student and Graduate Research Assistant in the Office of Community College Research and Leadership.
The purpose of the podcast is to bring together community colleges and other partners who are working to scale up their registered apprenticeships.
Registered apprenticeships provide participants with structured on-the-job training guided by an experienced mentor or journeyman. This earn and learn education model is registered with the United States Department of Labor. Apprentices receive a stipend or wages and are engaged with an employer from day one. At the end of the program, participants receive industry-recognized credentials and a Department of Labor certificate of completion. Registered apprenticeships may be time-based, competency-based, or a hybrid of both and usually last between 1 and 6 years.
We have 4 panelists joining us for this podcast. Matthew Feuerborn, Dean of the Career Technologies Division at Kishwaukee College, Dr. Rebecca Lake, Dean, Workforce and Economic Development at William Rainey Harper College, Dr. Henry Bohleke, Dean for the School of Business and Technology at Triton College, and Joshua Seeberg, Manager for the Skills Initiative at the German American Chamber of Commerce of the Midwest. And our first question for you is, can you each give us a brief overview of your apprenticeship program or what you do to support the development of registered apprenticeship programs? And we're going to start with Matt Feuerborn, Dean of Kishwaukee College.
Thank you. We have a couple of apprenticeship opportunities available, but in terms of registered apprenticeships, we've most recently partnered with ICAT and the German American Chamber when it comes to the development and implementation of an industrial maintenance registered apprenticeship program. We've also had some conversations about even branching that off to include CNC machining. We've also had some past experiences with Department of Labor approved apprenticeships in industrial maintenance as well as precision machining, but they've been on a much smaller scale with individual companies having to elect to register the apprenticeships.
Thank you. Dr. Lake from Harper?
We have 6 now registered apprenticeship programs. We are particularly well known for our non-traditional registered apprenticeship programs, which are not those that are in building construction trades or advanced manufacturing. We do have industrial maintenance mechanic and CNC precision machining, yet we also have new kinds of programs with supply chain management and general insurance and cybersecurity and IT generalist. So we're always looking at the community to see what kinds of registered apprenticeship programs are appropriate to fill the needs of our community employers, and then linking those up with faculty that can develop those programs for submission to the Office of Apprenticeship for registered apprenticeship programs. So we're truly keyed into what is needed in our community. But we have 6 at the moment, registered apprenticeship programs. We serve as that intermediary or gathering companies together, and we'll be writing more this summer.
Thank you. Dr. Bohleke from Triton College?
Yes, we are just really getting started. We're in our 2nd year. We partnered under ICAT with the German American Chamber, and we are working on expanding what we had started out. We started out of our engineering technology program, but we are looking at some other opportunities that have come along. And like Dr. Lake at Harper, we also spend a lot of time talking to our employers, work with the local workforce board to try to determine what are the real needs of the community and what are the positions that we have a hard time, that they're having a hard time filling. we recently had a job fair for our engineering technology program here at the college. And of the 29 employers that were there, it sounded, as I went from one employer to the next introducing myself, it sounded as if they were all looking for the same person. And fortunately, that's the program we have at present, but we are really looking, as I said, to expand.
Which is why this is called Scaling Up Apprenticeships. And then Joshua Seeberg from German American Chamber of Commerce of the Midwest.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, this is Joshua Seeberg from the German American Chamber of Commerce, and I work in the Skills Initiative Department, which is helping to promote and expand the ICAP program that you've heard the other colleges mention. These are every college on this phone call are great partners of ours. And what we do as the German Chambers, we have the advantage of bringing in the frameworks and structures and outlines from our parent organization in Germany. We're drawing from over 100 years of experience in the field of putting together and running apprenticeships. We brought them to the United States and then adapted them to the U.S. market and work with colleges to provide the related training instruction and work with companies to help them develop their internal company training program. We are a DOL registered program, of course. We have 4 profiles currently: industrial maintenance technician, CNC machinist, transportation clerk, and mechatronics technician, and we are expanding those as well in the coming years. And we are very excited to have plenty of college partners in Illinois, and we're also expanding out of state starting this year into Wisconsin, and we have our eyes on Indiana as well.
Okay, wow. Thank you. So our next question is, what partnerships are important to scaling up registered apprenticeship programs? So speaking to the partnerships that you're developing, so first, Dean Feuerborn from Kishwaukee College, could you talk about the partnerships that are important to apprenticeships?
Partnerships have to be fairly robust in terms of the relationships that are established between college or the training entity as well as then the employers. Really, the importance is the employers and the relationships there, and then the colleges, and then also obviously our partnership with the chamber to be able to actually interface between both.
Thank you. Dr. Lake, anything that you would like to add about partnerships and what partnerships are important?
Partnerships, as we all know, you can't have a registered apprenticeship program unless you have a company, an employer, because 50% of this is that the student has the job and is hired. And the other 50% is they go to we have it with the college, obviously with Harper, for those related training instruction. All of ours are in AAS degrees, so they have to be college ready to come in. And our cybersecurity is under continuing education. However, partnerships all also include how do you find those students that are ready that can read and write and do math, college ready, and can come into those programs. And so we reach out to high schools, as all community colleges do, and we do that and make sure that the colleges know what kinds of things we have for those that are within our districts. We also are working with the WIOAs because we have registered apprenticeship programs. They're the approved list for the state of Illinois. So they're already up there and are eligible for WIOA dollars, whatever those might be. It could be come at worker dollars or on-the-job training dollars or ITAs, which are individual training accounts. And then within the college itself, we do that kind of internal marketing so that the students that come to us understand what we have available, and as we grow those programs, we'll increase that internal marketing too. So there's 2 kinds of partnerships, both the employers and then those seeking for career changers or new coming into a career.
Thank you. Dr. Bohleke, what partnerships are important to Triton College as you're scaling up your apprenticeship programs?
Well, as the others have mentioned, the employer relationship is extremely important because you can't have an apprenticeship if you don't have an employer who's willing to buy into the program, and that's been a critical component. As I mentioned, we partnered early on with the German American Chamber through ICAT, and that has been a great relationship, and they are really helpful to us. We don't have an office of apprenticeships as of yet, And so it's something that we have started through a couple of our career programs. And so we have really struggled a little bit with having the resources to scale up. But the German American Chamber has been able to provide us with the resources. And we've done this by working with employers, working with our local workforce board, and also with having the German American Chamber engaged in a lot of our advisory committee meetings, having them come to meetings that we have here at the college, engaging them with our career services office, and also having them be a partner with our high schools. They also are good about going out to the high schools and working with the high schools to try to help us find the students. They have really been an incredibly important component of this, in part because, like many institutions, in coming out of 2 years of financial distress, we don't have the bodies to really take this on ourselves.
Thank you. And then last, Josh Seeberg with German American Chamber of Commerce.
As the third-party intermediary that puts together the ICAT program, I mean, we have a slightly different perspective, but it is still very similar. You know, we do the high school outreach, we partner with schools, and, of course, our college partners that are on the phone. And as everyone mentioned, the companies are our primary partners, of course, because this is an industry-led, industry-driven program. It's employer-led. They determine, how this program is to go in the end. So industry first, and the schools and the colleges, the advantages, you have advisory boards made up of industry leaders in the area. So we draw from that as well. And then maybe something that wasn't mentioned is, we're an industry association. Other industry associations, we work very closely with the Illinois Manufacturers Association, EDOs, chambers of commerce, talent organizations. You draw from many sources when putting together apprenticeship programs.
Thank you.
All right, and the next question, what resources are critical to scaling up your registered apprenticeship program? And we'll start with Dean Feuerborn.
The resources that are critical in terms of the staffing and personnel resources that we need, in many cases, we're a people industry. So to have the people on the ground to actually do the partnerships and to make those communications and outreach contacts to prospective students, prospective employees, potential apprentices, that's an absolutely critical resource is actually the people to actually conduct the work and to do that outreach. That's some of what we've already accomplished with a lot of our other partnerships. As Joshua had mentioned, the Economic Development Corporation, some of the things that we have going on in our local area include our DeKalb Oval Workforce Connection, where we actually have people in the local high schools throughout our region in order to help promote some of these opportunities. And also, again, to have the context and the resources to make that outreach to employers. We've had, that takes a lot of time and a lot of boots on the ground and a lot of conversation and commitment and follow up and follow through when it comes to some of that. So really it's the people and the support in order to make those connections to all of those partners that we've talked about.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Lake, is there anything you'd like to add?
The resources that we have found really start internally, obviously, here at Harper. One of the things that has been quite apparent and that the need for is that we have a champion, which is myself and my team, and then we have a special area. We have called an Office of Apprenticeships that's embedded where I'm at, which is in the Workforce and Economic Development, looking outreach kind of program to the community. So we have a champion and a focus. We have the time to go out. I have outreach specialists that go out into the community. And like Joshua was saying, ICAT sends some students to us also. We have funds to do that. Right now we are part of the American Apprenticeship Initiative grant. So we have funds to do that. And we essentially set it up with a plan. So it wasn't a hit or miss kind of endeavor. So the resources that we have are all focused and allow us to continue to grow the programs. We'll probably put another 4 of them in with the Office of Apprenticeship by the end of the fall, by December, so that we can meet those needs in our community. So resources are important, but it's more than time and funds. It's really having a plan or someone to focus that in your institution.
And Dr. Bohleke?
I think from our standpoint, one of the most critical components has been to get faculty buy-in. We have a lot of my faculty have been here 30 and even 40 years. And this is a new model. They're not familiar with it. I mean, even if they know something about the European system, this is a different model than what they're used to. And it has been a bit of a challenge trying to get faculty to really understand what it is that we're trying to do. But I think it's one of the most critical components, because if faculty support it, then you're halfway there. Then the other aspect, of course, is finding the right partner, whether it's German American Chamber, one of the labor unions. The right partner is also important. And then a commitment. I spend a great deal of time myself working on building apprenticeships, talking to employers as I meet them. I spend a great deal of my time focusing on, have you considered an apprenticeship? And particularly those employers that already have tuition reimbursement for their employees, because they're one step closer to that commitment of an apprenticeship versus an employer who does not have any resources going into developing their people.
All right. And Joshua Seeberg?
As everyone mentioned, building upon the partnerships you have, and especially with industry, because, I mean, for example, ICAT is a consortium. It stands for Industry Consortium for Advanced Technical Training, and, the idea is that industry is pooling their resources to make this happen. So you build upon that by building up your network and getting more companies to participate. Also, bringing on more profiles to offer more apprenticeship occupational profiles to companies who may not have a need for a CNC machinist or industrial maintenance technician. There are a lot of niche profiles out there that companies have a big need for, and we're working on filling those that way. And then finally, just always working on improving and bringing in new best practices and improving upon your structures to make it more streamlined and more efficient.
Thank you. And our last question, in hindsight, what advice would you give to community colleges looking to start new apprenticeship programs? And we'll go back to Dr. Feuerborn.
In hindsight, I guess the advice I would offer would also follow some of the comments by Dr. Lake and Dr. Bohleke in terms of the planning and intentionality of it and getting out well ahead of it. So setting that goal and putting the plan in place well in advance, because as we talked about in terms of the partnerships and the resources and those commitments, it takes a lot of time to end up fostering and developing and growing it and building the momentum to make it robust and sustainable.
Okay. And Dr. Lake?
We have lots of community colleges that come to see us. We had, people from Iowa, from New Mexico, from Florida, from Ohio, from Mississippi. They're coming up next week. All to ask the same kinds of questions, and I think that a lot of the colleagues on this call said those same kinds of things. It has to be intentional. It has to be that you're answering a need in the community. To think that the community employers will immediately drop the dime and want to do registered apprentices is not correct in our what we've run into. You really have to give the time. Outreach needs to be out there a lot. So if you can get your people to go out and touch base with lots of employers, I always say that there needs to be 4 things. You need to have employers, because this is an employer-driven. You have to have a champion in your college. You have to have faculty who want to be involved, and you have to have admissions on your side. So if community colleges want to do this, those are the 4 basic things that you need to start with, because admissions has to be out really helping you sell this new kind of commodity, because you're right, this is very new. Community colleges the lexicon has not included registered apprenticeship programs in the last couple of years. We've just now started to understand about it. But it is doable, and it's all shareable. You can go on our websites and see everything and share it with everyone. But it is doable and it works.
Great. Thank you. And Dr. Bohleke, is there anything you'd like to add?
So I would say that to anyone who is not doing apprenticeships right now, find the right partner for your institution and get started. If you can't wait for the ideal time, because it will never come, every community college in every state that I'm aware of is struggling for resources. We're also looking at a sea change. We're looking at the baby boom generation that is huge, is getting ready to retire at a time when an article this morning from the Associated Press says that there will be 2 million new American manufacturing jobs in the next decade. And we're looking at all of these dynamics coming into place, along with 4.3% unemployment rate. So the employers are desperate. They are looking for people. And the quicker you get started into apprenticeships, the easier it will be to sustain them and to continue and to grow the programs. And so I would say, if nothing else, just get started.
Thank you. And finally, Joshua Seeberg.
Yeah, well, needless to say, I would highly recommend partnering with an intermediary like the German American Chamber of Commerce. I mean, not only in shameless self-promotion, but when we talk to colleges, especially, there just seems to be this mystery around what is an apprenticeship and how do you get it together and what are the pieces that need to be put together to do it. And that's what we bring, is this kind of turnkey solution with, again, over 100 years of best practices all in one package. And why reinvent the wheel? Partner with German American Chamber or someone similar who already has that code cracked, and then it really takes the load off of having to start from nothing and build up something there. So it's go for a partner with pretty much a ready-made solution.
Thank you. Yes, those are some of the sentiments that we've heard from the community colleges that we've spoken to about the newness of this. And so that is why we titled this podcast, Where to Start. In closing, is there anything else that you would like to add or that hasn't been discussed that you think is important for those who are trying to embark on developing and scaling up their apprenticeship programs need to hear? Anyone is welcome to chime in if there's anything else that we haven't discussed.
I'd just like to say, I think, again, the partnership is a critical component, as Mr. Seeberg expressed. That can take a tremendous load off of the institution, off of the academic areas, get faculty buy-in, engage the faculty in what the process is, what it's about, and the benefits. The average apprenticeship pays a much better wage than most of the other jobs in manufacturing. I think one estimate I saw was about $60,000 a year. So this is tremendous opportunity for our students, and particularly some of the students that may not have opportunities otherwise. They are struggling to get out of the jobs in fast food. And so these are good, sustainable jobs that will be around for a very long time. And we really need to work on this model and move ahead as institutions to find the best way to make this work for our employers.
We have made it so that our registered apprenticeship programs are all sustainable, so self-sustaining for the college. So when the grant goes away, we will be able to continue this. And so it's important that we share that with other community colleges. Please go on our website, harperapprenticeships.org. Just download anything you want and print it off, and you can change the name and use it, feel free. But we have found ways to make sure that this apprenticeship programs and the ones that we'll be growing are all sustainable. So, and that's the thing that community colleges always want to have, is that we don't want to do one-offs, and so that, it'll be, we will try something and then we end it. We always want to find out how do we make them self-sustaining, and so we have found ways to do that.
That's important. Thank you.
Yeah, I had one thing to add, and it's kind of echoing already what Dr. Bohleke said, but start now. Apprentices can last up to a few years, several years. Our apprenticeships all pretty much take about 3 years. So we're trying to build a workforce. So get together now, and don't neglect to work on a pipeline of applicants to get into the apprenticeships, because even though there are all these job openings out there, and like as was mentioned, they're great paying jobs, it's really difficult to get kids excited about things like manufacturing and get them into the career. And then to find ones who have the STEM background to get into a career like that, either training in the high school or just simply math and science classes. So, it needs to start a little earlier than college to begin with, and I think everyone on the phone would agree. And so don't neglect that aspect of it.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate, that was a good point just to get started. You're quite right. Made me think about that. This December, we will graduate 19, the first registered apprenticeship program apprentices in the country in general insurance. So they will
wonderful.
Graduate with an AAS degree in business, and the concentration is in general insurance. So we'll be graduating those. These happen to be all from Zurich Insurance. And they all have jobs, and they're going to be growing, and so it does pay off. They're in 2 years, they are done, and they graduate with zero yet have 2 years experience in their jobs and are on their career path. So get started, like everybody else said.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate everyone for joining us for this very informative podcast. Thank you.
For more information about registered apprenticeships, we recommend that you visit occrl.illinois.edu/CTE apprenticeships. For more podcasts, links to today's recommended resources, or to share your comments and suggestions, visit occrl.illinois.edu/democracy, or send them via Twitter @OCCRL. Tune in next month when Shantae Thrill from OCCRL talks with Dr. Jennifer Banks, the coordinator of mathematics and science at Washtenaw Intermediate School District, about responsive mathematics pedagogy. Background music for this podcast is provided by DubLab. Thank you for listening and for your contributions to educational equity, justice, and excellence for all students.